everybody. How are you? I'm John Zidar, and my special guest today is Patrick. How you
How's it
doing,
going, guys?
Pat?
How you doing, brother? It's good to be
They
back,
call
man.
you Pat? I've never done that before.
Yeah, Pat's good. Pat's fine.
Okay, just want to make sure. So, as you probably all know, folks, we like to talk about OTC and penny stocks on this show, and we're going to do it live with you. And I see we've already got some tickers over there in the comments. I'm going to get my news up here while we're chatting. Hey, is there anything you want to say while I get this set up, Pat?
No, other than last time I was on, we talked about HNRC, which I see a lot of people already asking about. And I got to say, I've never been much of an OTC guy, but you definitely piqued my interest. And I started following, and oh my God, like there's some money to be made there, huh?
Yes, there is. There is a lot of controversy, though, about the rules surrounding this. I'm trying to get this all taken care of here for us. Give me just a chance. There we go. And there. All right, I'm going to get you some news up now. Had to get it all set up for us. Don't mind the wee little picture. The words are big. Yeah, the HNCR, we might as well chat about that. The dividend is being given. It's $1.75 for every share you own of HNRC. It's supposed to be paid out on December 30th. Yesterday was the last day to buy it, the X date. That is 2 days before the record date. You got to give time for the transaction to get through the system and settle. If it doesn't settle and they go take a picture of all the shareholders' holdings, it won't be there in time. Well, there was a rule we saw called a due bill document. Anytime there's a dividend over 25% of the value of the stock, the due bill document normally kicks in. And what this says is that you cannot sell your shares of HNRC, the parent company, until after the pay date. Normally, you can sell as soon as the record date's over, which would mean we could sell on Monday, the 17th. If the due bill date was in effect, the period between the record date and the pay date, which is 2 weeks for us, the 16th to the 30th, you cannot sell your shares. You would lose your dividends. And there seems to be a lot of controversy about this. So
When did that news come out?
Well, the news comes out with all of the facts, and the rules supersede the facts. They can go over what the news press says and what the 8K says. I did all my phone calls, actually got in touch with the transfer agent for HNRC today. They are the people that know. That's the bottom line. They said there is no due bill date on this. However, they did say that all the dates we've been given are righteous. However, when you have a dividend this big, it can be up to the brokers. We're on the OTC market. The brokers can determine what they want to do with those shares between December 16th and the 30th. The reason the due bill date is built in, the price of these shares that we're going to be getting are $5. There's a huge profit margin. If we dumped our shares on Monday, so many people would dump and they'd be willing to sell cheap because the dividend is going to cover their loss. They could crash the stock and trigger off margins and all sorts of things. And they don't want that. And that's what it was put in place for, to create steadiness in the market. However, the transfer agent says it's not in place, which means you should, by their statement, you should be able to sell your shares of HNCR Monday and still qualify for your dividend on the 30th. I'm going to tell you this straight up. I'm not selling my shares, even if I believe that. I was going to keep my HNCR because that's what they do. They spin out SPACs. They got 6 more they're planning on spinning out. Why would I go anywhere when they're going to do this? WDHI, they're going to be spinning out SPACs. They say that's what their main business is going to be. I'm not going to throw away most of that. But if I'm wrong, you don't lose anything by holding your dividend stocks until then. You're going to get your dividend. But if I'm right, and you sell before the 30th, you might lose your shares. I don't know, folks. I'm just leaning on the side of caution here. I don't know everything, and I'm catching a lot of static right now on Twitter about it. There's a couple people over there who think I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But as you've seen, I've shown you every document. I've taken pictures. I show you what I'm reading. I'm not just making this stuff up, folks. I'm just showing you what it is. And
John, I got to say, man, I mean, you are, and I apologize for cutting you off. I mean, you are incredibly informed. And the reality of the situation is that any special dividend typically comes with a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation, but a lot of ambiguity. And you constantly will see it on stock twits, on Reddit, on Facebook, people saying, oh, no, you need to hold through, you need to buy, you can sell now. And it truly is hard to know. So kudos to you for reaching out and actually speaking to the brokerages. Anybody that is trying to say that you're not informed has clearly not done any work themselves, because these are not easy nets to untangle.
No, they're not. And the bottom line is you can't please everybody. We all have our own views. We each have a different level of DD. You might be married to the stock. I don't know, and you offend somebody just by saying something that's factual but not nice. And I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm actually trying to protect what we're trying to gain here. But, bottom line is it's your money. It's your decision. You guys do whatever you want. I'm just giving you my opinion, and that's all I can give you legally. So don't put any more weight on it than that. Just think of me as a fancy, pretty road sign. I'm just here to point some things out.
For those that just might not be getting the weight of what John is saying, I mean, if you run the risk, if you say, hey, I want to roll the dice, and you sell early, odds are that you could be selling at a loss, and now you won't have that dividend to recoup those losses. I mean, the main goal of this is to reap that huge dividend payout. But if you sell for at loss before the record date and you don't get the dividend, all you did was tie up your buying power and waste everybody's time.
And what you see in many cases too is both stocks will drop after a dividend is issued, because everybody's trying to rake in their money. A man with a little bit of patience, or woman, can make some extra money. You might get a lot more than you initially thought you were going to once these drop and bounce back. Let the people dump and take their money. Be a little patient. Unless you've got places you need that money, I myself am going to be patient. I like what I read about these companies. It's not like that's all they got going as spinouts. HNCR's got $60 million worth of assets, 33 million barrels of oil in the ground. They've got a working business. So I don't see any reason to let go of a company that wants to give me annual dividends, quarterly dividends, dividends and SPACs, new companies spinning out in the market. I love all that. Ho, 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 and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. And I know obviously HNRC is going to be a little bit different because it's OTC and it's going to be a smaller stock. But for those that all trade options like I do, I'm very big into day trading options. Say you want to go the route that John is and saying, hey, I want to hold on to this. You can still capitalize on that sell-off. I very often will play special dividends, but on the option side, and I get puts as soon as I no longer have to hold, because like John just said, everybody's going to sell off. So you can maintain an equity position and still make money on the short side. There's just so many different ways to approach it. Right.
Absolutely. And it's really, psychology is a major factor. We're dealing with people now. In the major markets, you got a lot of your AIs, and that's a whole different ballgame. We're not going to get into.
Do you not see that much in the OTC market?
Well, how much do you see? I mean, that's the question. You can't see AI. That's the problem. But I'm sure it's in there, but I'm betting it's more predominant in the major markets where there's more money to be had. I think the shorters like the OTC better because there's more dying horses down here, more sick companies to take advantage of. But outside of that, I don't know that AI really plays a lot down here, but what do I know? I don't. Sure. All right, I want to jump into some of these stocks. I see we got a lot of comments pouring in here. Great. I'm glad to see all of you, some regulars in here, some new people. Thanks, folks. That's making my day. That's why I'm here. It's for you. If it was only one of you, it would still be great. But since it's more of you, it's even greater. All right. I think UATG is the first one we wanted to take a look at. She has been running. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to give a general overview here. Actually, I'm going to let Pat cover the charting. He's much better at charting than I am. I mean, I'm okay. He's good. So I'm going to jump into the information here because I see she was saying that there was some news today, but it fell. Get that ticker right here. UATG. Now, I have been following this. As a matter of fact, I've come this close to talking about this stock this last week because it's been running like crazy. I almost talked about it yesterday, but other stocks just kind of jumped in the way. Let's check over here at the news. These are your catalysts. Now, if I remember correctly, it was 3 catalysts that I've been taking notice of. Right here is where I was going to talk about it. Now, this is an interesting company. They've got different things they're working with. Down here, they're telling us that they have this bone pin. They make it out of bone, and it actually is used in surgeries to connect bone, and he'll put in hollow spots of bones, and it grows out, and it works. So that is a bone grafting system, but they've also got a water purification system, which they just got a contract for, and it looks like it's gotten bigger. It started off at 15 million, went to 15.4, and I see news came out today. I don't know if this is a separate contract or they're just kicking it out. You got to remember that the stock has been running for many days, and it can't just keep running. Even if they put more good news on the table, unless it's really a difference in the value of the company. Now, this is good news. I mean, announces up to $17.2 million contract with Texas Oil Company, which is kind of sounding like different news than we had just the other day. Let me see if this is, no, they're actually naming this one Synergy Crude LLC. So it looks like they have another deal. I can't tell you why it fell today. Maybe another stock on the market was grabbing the attention. In this sort of market, that's what happens. People bail. Now, I don't know why you'd bail on this one. You got that chart that you can share with us, Pat? You share your screen?
Unfortunately, I'm on my work. I was gonna say I'm on my work laptop, and if I end up pulling up too many screens, it completely throws off my frame rate, and I'll lock everything up. So I won't be able to share my screen, unfortunately.
No problem. Patrick stood in for me in the last minute. As you can see, he is literally in his work clothes. He's at work. He set up an emergency communication station just to be here for me. So hats off to you for that, Pat. I appreciate all of that.
Now, I am interested in the volume that we see for UATG. The average volume is just shy of 3 million, but today's volume was, if I'm reading this correctly, 26 million. That is, and if I'm reading this correctly, because I'm like I said, I'm on my work laptop, so I don't have my normal stuff pulled up, but that is a significant difference. I see it drop down about 21%. It's interesting. I mean, it's definitely been running quite a bit. Where do you see this going, or are you just kind of watching on the sidelines right now?
Personally, I don't have a hold on this one. All the stocks I cover, I could never invest in all of them. Just way too many. I got too many as it is. UATG, I've just been monitoring simply because of the chart activity, all the news that's been coming out. And, you know, as you can see, just looking at that 20-day chart, she's had herself a nice run for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. 7 days she was running. She did have a lull right here, but she was still on top of her 20-day SMA. The volume has been really growing, but it's really petered out now, and all of our technicals have gotten soft. She is sitting right around her 20-day SMA on the 1 hourly chart. On the 5 minute, she has broken through her 200. That's what I was kind of saying. A stock can only run so much before people want to take gains. You got to remember the market we're in, folks. You can't overlook that people are tight on money right now. Inflation is hitting. The market's got low volume, low dollar volume. There's not a lot of activity, so people are taking what they got and they're trying to build it, and they're moving their entire household from stock to stock. And as it's been falling, what is this? 3 months it's been falling, hit that low bubble, has been working off of that low bubble. Well, all these people, all underneath this high right there, all these people are very interested in getting out now. That is profit that they've been waiting a long time for. And boy, it couldn't have come at a better time, Christmas. So they're taking their gains. So it's not that anything's wrong with the company. It's market sentiment. It's global conditions, it's economic circumstances, all that comes into play.
And Velmore, I would say, like John just said, I mean, you can see where there was a decline. You can see where there was a decline for quite some time. So what happens quite a bit is people will decide, I don't want to realize this loss, and I want to wait until some type of catalyst comes, so I can either sell maybe for a small amount of profit, maybe for break even, or at least to not realize as much of a profit. I'm sorry, I realize as much of a loss. So you do see that quite a bit on these things. And of course, don't ever forget the age-old saying, buy the rumor, sell the news. You see these catalysts, like the news that came out about UATG today. Very exciting. People expect this to be a market mover or a ticker mover, and it was, just not the way that we wanted it to. But that's you got to remember, everything's like John said, everything's emotion. Everything is about emotion, and you have to go, what are they expecting us to do, and kind of even think about playing it the opposite way.
Yeah, and that's funny you say that, because that's kind of what the market is. I see a lot of good news, stocks are falling. Bad news, God bless it, we can count on those delistings because of bankruptcies on the NASDAQ bouncing up. And when they fall down to the NASDAQ after they've been demoted, they bounce again. I mean, it's bad news. There's a long recovery road there, and still, these are the biggest money makers on the market right now, are these bloody bankruptcies. And God, there's a ton of them. They're just one after another right now.
They're all over the place. And what's interesting is like what we kind of talked about last time about how a lot of meme stocks will kind of trade in a similar basket. Same thing with these, with delistings and bankruptcies. I mean, Revlon was a huge one maybe about 4 months ago, where they just plummeted like 70%, and then they just skyrocketed. BBBY, Bed Bath & Beyond, another one. I mean, and obviously those are just the mainstream known ones, but God, there's so many of them.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of them, your small penny caps. But like we just had Clovis. Clovis was the one I put up yesterday. CLVS, I believe it is. Yeah, they hinted around they were thinking about a bankruptcy, and that's when I put it up. And then yesterday they announced it, and now they're going to be delisted off of the NASDAQ. They're going to fall down to the OTC, so get ready, folks. CLVS. It's plummeting right now. It's been falling for a very long time. It's going to be delisted. Look, every time they announce a bankruptcy, that's when it seems to want to bounce. Then just before it leaves the NASDAQ, it takes a bounce. And then when it hits the OTC, guess what? It takes another bounce. And sometimes even 2 weeks later, these silly things will bounce again. They got a Q at the end of the ticker. You can't miss the bankruptcies. They all go to your scanners and just look for tickers with a Q at the end. 99% of them are bankrupt. Some have a Q at the end normally, but most no.
And now I will say real quick, Velmore, just like we saw, with the UATG, what comes up, it must have some type of pullback, and it has the exact same reaction for whatever's going down. As Clovis is down 55% for the week. Which is a huge amount. We would generally think, hey, they're going bankrupt, nobody's going to trade them. But now people are looking like, I could probably get in this and do a quick scalp. And the more people that think that, the more people start moving it. Average volume is up on the average by like 6 million. So I mean, it's definitely some hype around it.
All right, let's jump into our next stock here. This is from Chris. Hello, Chris. Thank you for the ticker. We got CLNV here. I'm looking at the chart. She's had a great day today. She jumped from 3 cents up to 6.4 cents. You got over 100% gains there from the low bubble, not from where she opened, but from that low bubble. Backing up the picture though here, she had a much bigger bounce earlier. She came all the way back down, and you can see how these SMAs play into the picture, folks. You can see that is what stopped it, and it's bouncing off of that 50 right now. She went all the way up to 10 cents. She just had that about 10 days ago. And right now, she's starting to build her volume up. All that volume died away. There was nothing going on until right now. And I got to tell you, I don't see any news over here. Jumping over to the OTCmarkets.com website, there's a float roughly between 302 and 310. So I'm presuming, losing faith in this page. News, though, I didn't see anything since Yeah, third week of November. Clean Vision's Clean Seas inks agreement to establish second planned U.S. plastics conversion facility. And I was reading this one earlier. They got another one here. They're going to make all sorts of stuff by taking all that plastic that's going to incinerators and dumps and all that. They're going to have that fed to them. Now, their first deal here, they are doing a deal with someone who's also building a facility next to theirs. There's going to be two facilities, and they are going to be doing tons and tons every day, making hydrogen and this stuff that they use to make a different type of plastic. And then they got another deal, so they're going to have a third facility doing this. So they were booming. And, you know, I may have even mentioned this in one of my videos because I remember the information. So it is on the cusp of clean energy and cleaning up the bloody pollution in the world. So that is a great business, and it is here in the United States. But currently, I don't see any reason for running today. Now, what I do, folks, is when I don't see anything, I just run over to Twitter. I mean, seriously, if I can't see it, I'm going to go borrow 100 sets of eyes and see if they can tell me anything. If I can get it up. Let me try over here.
That's what you said.
That's right. I heard that. Don't do that to me while I'm live. All right. What was I looking up? CLNV. Okay. Let's see what we find over here. Cheapies on the deck thanks to the shorts. Yeah, shorts are having their fun. Loaded up some first target retest. We're looking for news, not just the technicals. You get a lot of that here, folks, and it's amazing how, I mean, really how accurate it is. You'll see nothing going on in this cheap penny stock down in the sub-penny zone, and they'll be looking at the block purchases. They'll be looking at the 50-day average, and then you'll see 4 or 5 comments yesterday on a nothing happening stock, and today that son of a gun is running, and you go, why? I don't know, but Twitter is definitely a barometer for sub-penny stocks. Seller's going to have to cover. You know, they make it sound like shorts are covering now because she fell. I mean, that's kind of what I'm reading here. Everybody's talking about shorts and technicals.
I just be careful with that.
I can't say that they're not, because the chart definitely shows she had a fall. And as we said, she came underneath her 200-day back here. Let me see. It was on the 20-day, I think it was.
I would be careful and make sure that you don't fall. Be careful not to fall into the shorts. Well, shorts have to cover, because eventually shorts do have to cover, but they can stretch. Just ask all the apes. Just ask. I was one of them, you know.
Well, we just had a situation with MMTLP, which was the shorts having. Pardon?
The last time you and I streamed, you were talking about that. Did that catalyst happen?
Nightmare. 500 million synthetic shares did not get covered. They just excused them. They pulled the MMTLP off the market 2 days before it was supposed to be pulled off.
Really?
All of us got stuck at the super duper low price of $2.89.
Wow.
They shorted the hell out of it all day and then locked us out. Lots of people, including me, have been in touch with their attorney generals and other people, attorneys.
You know,
that's what's going to go on.
That really gets me. You know, like I understand a lot of the rules, and like even the 25K day trading rule. You know, like I don't necessarily agree with it. I can't understand it, but you know, at that point, you are allowing one set of party to operate on a completely different set of standards on a way huge leg up. I mean, that's criminal.
It is. It is. I don't think there should. I mean, I understand what shorting's about, but honestly, I don't think it deserves to be on the OTC. The OTC is vulnerable. That's startup companies. I mean, you're beating the hell out of a newborn puppy. Come on, that's not where you should be doing it. You know, if you're going to beat up on somebody, at least make it an adult. Be on the major exchanges. I got nothing against them. I'm just saying, let's not let the shorters beat up those that haven't even got on their feet yet. So back to CLVN. She's looking strong, NV. She's looking strong. The technicals look strong. Everything is pushing up. Looking at the 5-day, you've had a pullback. She's come down to her 20, which she hasn't really come close to often. She's been floating on her 9-day. 1, 2, twice she hit her 20, did not come below it. And she's fallen right down to it again. And she's sitting there. Now you got to remember, folks, these SMAs are rubber bands. The further apart they get, the more likely they are going to come back together. They have to come back together sooner or later. That's what Patrick was saying. What goes up must come down. It's just a stretch. So we got to expect it to come down, but you want it to be a controlled fall. A reason. Was there a high bubble? Is there a support? A SMA that it's paying homage to and respects? Look for those characteristics, those features. This looks safe right now. Now, of course, your technicals are going to look negative because you just had your pullback. But that may be all it is a pullback. So we're just watching this right now. But the bottom line is we see no catalyst. There's no reason we know this is running. You don't want to jump into something without knowing something.
So I actually have two tickers that you got me interested. You got me interested in. They're not technically OTC, but they are penny stocks. And I don't know if you know Top. He's commenting. He's Top Sealer Jurgen. He's a PBU guide, and he turned me on to one of these yesterday. CORZ, Charlie Oscar Romeo's.
You want me to take a look at that one?
Yeah, take a look at that bad boy. Top made me a lot of money off of this guy.
Oh, CORZ. I got that up right now. I was watching this today. This is the company that, again, was on the verge of bankruptcy, and they just had news come out.
Seeing a pattern here?
Yeah. They're getting their asses saved. They got $72 million to avoid bankruptcy. Now, this company had a good push today, but if you were just watching this, you missed a big run, folks.
Over the last 2 or 3 days.
The warrant went over 1,000% today.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
Holy cow.
Yes, I am. That is why I had it up on my list. CORZW, is it? I don't think there's an S. Yeah, there you go. She was down here at a nickel. And is that where am I on the course scientific warrant? Yeah, hold on now. Maybe I got that wrong. I'm at 2.7 cents at yesterday's low, but it looks like she closed at about a nickel, 20 cents. All right, 400%. 400%.
Still, get out of here. That's amazing.
We love to watch warrants. When I put out alerts on these SPAC deals, DPLS just made a SPAC deal. Thank God I've been holding them 18 months.
Jeez, you have so much more patience than I do.
Well, it was a bag, and I'm not selling a bag. They have technology. They were hot when they were hot, and then all the market's been falling. And if I was to get out of everything that fell, I'd own nothing. So, I'm just kind of there. But in either case, they just did a deal. Now, the company they're doing a deal with, I do believe, has a warrant as well. Now, SPACs are all $10 a piece. So when I put out an alert on a SPAC deal, it's not the SPAC I'm talking about. It's warrant. They're always penny stocks. They're always down here under $5, and a little volume will get a warrant to jump far. Now, don't be worried that they're warrants. A warrant is a stock. Trade it like any other. If that bothers you to think of it as a warrant, don't. Just trade it like a stock. But a warrant is just basically a stock with an extra benefit. You can cash it in for a share later, like 5 years later, up to, for a lot cheaper. A $10 company says, in 5 years, you can buy a share for $11.50 anytime you want. Darn thing goes up to $50. You can trade in $11.50 plus your warrant, buy a $50 share for $11.50, and then go sell it and get your profit. That's why people like warrants, and they jump because the spread is normally big. And when people want in, they really don't care about the little spread down here for some reason. And you can get hundreds and thousands of % gains when the stock itself isn't hardly moving at all because it's a SPAC. SPACs can't move. They have no value until they close the deal. So it's a little secret trick here. All the news that comes in on a SPAC, the motion goes to the warrant. SPACs don't move. They can't move because they're not, it'll move 2 or 3 cents. Maybe. Now, I saw a SPAC last week that has not closed a deal. They are worth $10 a share. It fell down to $4. Why is that such a big deal? If these SPACs don't close the deal in 18 to 24 months, and a ton of them, I think 6 today liquidated. What that means is they give all the money back to the shareholders. All your money comes back. It is a money back guarantee. And if you bought your shares for $4, they're worth 10. So you get $10 back for every share of a SPAC that you buy. But if you paid $11 for some silly reason, you're only going to get $10 for that SPAC. So it's a real special deal there, but I never look at the SPAC itself. I'm looking at those warrants because they jump on little volume, big distances. All right, so Coors is going to be off the chopping block, it looks like. They're bided themselves some time. They're not going to be filing bankruptcy, but I don't know a whole lot about Coors. Do you know what they do?
Honestly, no, I'm not overly familiar. I typically do not trade penny stocks.
Right.
I'm mainly an options trader, to be honest with you, and I do have quite a bit in equity, but it's stuff that is more like passive income that I just set it, and I forget. Like I said, Top Sealer Jurgen, who's in the comments right here. He and I were talking about it in my stream last night, and he turned me on to it, and I have no idea what they did, but I know they made me a lot of money today.
Yeah, well, you got in. Now, I don't know exactly when the news came out. I don't know if he had any.
It was running quite a bit yesterday, and then ran after hours, then ran the pre-market, and then continued throughout the day.
Right, it did have a pickup right here. It got up over its 200 and just kept pushing, and then obviously something happened after market. There was a quick jump. Somebody knew something, and maybe the news did come out. I don't know. You know, a lot of the news that we read is a day old, but it doesn't mean it came out yesterday. It could have been yesterday evening. And that's the thing. In the evening, go and look at the news. Something may come out after the bell that's going to affect the market tomorrow.
I'll tell you,
if it's an OTC stock, you're not going to get a lot of trading pre-market after market. And the nice thing about warrants is you and I, everybody can trade in pre-market after market because it's on the major exchange. You don't need special permissions, special qualifications. The only thing you got to do is remember it's not a day trade. You got to change the time to include extension or it'll ignore your order. And there's nothing worse than not having your order go in when you thought for sure it would.
Something that I do, and I understand it's a little different on OTC because of the volume of trading, but in a similar vein, every day after market and every day in pre-market, I look at top earners and top losers because that gives me an idea of what I could potentially play tomorrow or the following day. I look at them for multiple different reasons. I won't get into it because it's not an option stream, but it is just like you said, it's something that's very smart to do. It's just staying on top of that.
Yeah, just because we see what happens over and over again. If you know every time this happens, that's going to happen. If you can find a way to make money on it, just play that. Don't even wander around trying new things. Find something that works and get good at it and do it over and over and over again. Ask Ford. He knew what that was all about. All right, so let's take a look at another one I've got kicked up there from Kobe C 2100. That's a new name. Great to see you here, pal. He wants to talk about NEXCF. They're participating with a growing industry with Amazon as a partner and actively doing spin-outs. Oh, I like that. With more revenue opportunities. Thoughts? Oh, I love to give my thoughts. Let's see what we got over here.
I'll tell you that.
All right.
My initial thought is that extremely low volume scares me.
Let me see. I haven't seen that bloody thing yet. NEXCF. Let's see if I recognize this company. Oh, Nextech Air Solutions. Right. I think this company was hot last year as well. Let me see. How old is this news? Well, that news came out today. Well, that's good news. And you said the volume was low today. The Power Play by the Market Herald releases new interviews with Tantalix, GR Silver, Nextech. Okay, not exactly news, but I mean, those are good. I mean, if you really are interested in a company, you need to get into these interviews. Listen to a person talking. That's the way you can judge a company. It's through the management. The management is who controls the company. You know, they make it, they break it. It's their dreams, it's their desires, it's their greed, whatever's on the table. That's what's going to drive this company. So you always want to listen to them. And they'll probably give you more information than you're going to find dabbling around on the internet. Anything else here? Something yesterday, same news. Spin out. Nextech Air announces plans for IPO spin out of 3D Design Studio Toggle 3D, targeting the 11 billion Canadian market shift to 3D commerce. 3D commerce. All right. Well, you know, I don't want to jump into it too deeply here, but commerce online is huge. This new tech with 3D, virtual reality, augmented reality, being able to try your shoes on when they're online and you're sitting here in your house, that's pretty cool. It's really cool. Now, I know I can't tell how they feel, but I can at least see how they look.
It is. I'll tell you, I run a plumbing and HVAC company, and it's something that even we utilize when we're looking at like new fixtures, new faucets, new toilets. Sometimes people like want to see, how does that look like in my home? And there's apps where we basically take photos of their home, and then we can do like a little bit of augmented reality, obviously on a much more less sophisticated level. But this is the future.
I'm not seeing anything here about Amazon. I'm not quite sure. We don't have time to go through all the news, but you can see that they are on the cusp of new technology where it counts, commerce. And, you know, if anything goes on with our health situation again, like COVID, I mean, e-commerce goes through the roof because it's virtually our only option during those periods. So, you know, I'm not forecasting anything. I'm just saying e-commerce ain't going anywhere as long as we have electricity.
Wait, you just jinxed us. Now we're not going to have electricity.
I do see their penny stock exempt. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's a bonus for you. Always feel confident when you see that. This is a 66-cent stock. It is a penny stock, right? But it isn't. It's on the OTC market. It's not a penny stock. Why? Because it's proven itself to be reliable. What this really means is that they've been in business for 3 to 5 years with millions of dollars of assets during the entire time period, and they haven't had any problems with their financials or their filings. So they've proven themselves to know how to carry their weight. So everything looks good with the company. I'm going to have to do a little bit of deeper dive and see about the Amazon thing. When you start throwing around names like that, you do want to dive in a little bit.
I will say, just in my experience, because I've been burned by it before. God, I'm trying to remember the name of the company. Be careful. Amazon is one of those companies that smaller companies love to say, "Oh, hey, we're going to be working with them in the future," or people start drumming up. I'm not saying that this is the case, but it's drumming up maybe some misinformation. And it's happened numerous times for like drone companies, for electric vehicle companies, with Amazon. And I've gotten trapped in them before. So just make sure you do your due diligence. The fact that their average volume is, what was their average volume? Like 120,000.
I don't even know if it was that high.
Their average volume is 125,000. The volume of the day is 60,000. So they traded at half their average volume today. I mean, I don't know. I'm not loving just off of a very brief look at it.
And there's again, this is our market, folks. This is what we're dealing with every day. We are 1.7 billion. Our average for months, low average, was 2.1. We haven't been there for a very long time.
What is it that you're saying?
What's that?
What average are you talking about?
The dollar volume. I don't see that the dollar volume causes the market to move, but by golly, the more money that's in the market, the more active it's going to be. That's just common sense, but that's been very low for a long time. Share volume, folks, we were at 60 billion shares a year ago, a year and a half ago. It has fallen so bad, and we can't get over 10. 10 is second gear. I see the market move when we hit 10 billion. We're not getting there. And we can't get over 300,000 trades. And we were doing 700,000 trades back at the same time we were doing all of those shares. So the market is slow molasses on a winter's day. Absolutely. And this is what I'm saying. There are only so many stocks that are going to get the money that we have available to give right now. Money's tight for us. Oh, yeah. I think that's why crypto has crashed. That's why a lot of things have been crashing, is because people got to pull money from somewhere because they got to make, bills, get paid, buy food. They got to live. And so do companies. And that's why they're doing reverse splits. We're seeing those left and right, killing us.
I mean, but they're doing reverse splits while at the same time posting record profits. I mean, it drives me insane.
Yeah, well, it's really a slap in the face when they do a reverse split and then turn around and do a public offering.
Oh yeah, I got burned by SPCE, Space Virgin Space. Hey John, I'm gonna have to get off here in a minute because I have to get to call a customer. But since our last stream, I really got into reading about OTC. Again, it's very foreign to me, but you're very passionate about it, and it got me excited. I've got a question for you. I'm not sure if you have the answer. So when I just like many other people, I got really into trading on GameStop, AMC, all of those. And something that I saw happen quite a few times were tickers that were basically defunct. I'm talking Sears, I'm talking Blockbuster, out of nowhere, skyrocket. Like, I mean, they haven't been traded in ages. They're really not even a company anymore. And then just out of nowhere, just absolutely go on an enormous run. Do you have any idea why that would happen?
Well, not knowing all the particulars, if they were on, say, the expert market, you said they were defunct. Now, defunct puts you normally in a state of non-purchasable. And once a stock goes off the market, the price will crash. Your marketers and your brokers are picking the price to death. You think it would go up, but it goes down, down, down. And when it comes back on the market, whoever was watching it before jump into it, and normally it comes on the market a lot cheaper than it was before it went off, and it jumps back to its normal price. So wherever it was, it comes on at 0002 and its price was 2 cents. Wham! It jumps all the way back up to 2 cents right then and there, just coming back on the market. That happens whenever a stock is pulled off the market and comes back on for whatever reason. Gray, skull and crossbones, defunct, expert market, gray market. Once they come back on, I'm not saying all of them, but like you just said, names that we know: Blockbuster, Sears. These are names that resonate with people, and I think that's one of the reasons people like to play dead dogs. I don't know why, but even good stocks bounce big like that when they come back on the market.
Now, I remember when that was happening, and I'll be 100% honest with you. I definitely jumped down the rabbit hole. I mean, it was all 4 years ago, 3 years ago, but I was, they're out to get us. They're out to get us. And, I know a lot of people theorize that they were basically boosting these, like I said, Blockbuster, Sears, Kmart was one of them, right, to somehow shift around the money. I'm not even sure. So I wasn't sure if you had any idea about that.
That's what I've been questioning for the last 2 months. Why are all these bankruptcies running? Right. What can be gained except we're bored and we're trading with each other?
And it's interesting because just like how all the delisting companies are doing this. 3 months ago, it was all Chinese IPOs, and that also made no sense. HKD ran, God, how knows now?
Well, now there was sense there. You had these Chinese companies coming on with many super low IPOs, micro floats of about 3 million shares with no warrants to even dilute it in the future. And it was like over and over again. And then a hemp company did that. I forget which one it was. Hempaco, maybe. They came on with no warrants, a low float, no respect, no love. It did not have the same effect. Only the Chinese companies were getting those massive runs, as you said, KGD and Mako or Mako or something like that. So yeah, there's trends. And right now the trends are about bankruptcies. And as soon as current catastrophe economic situations change and people quit going bankrupt, this is probably going to be a play for a long time. And you really should focus in on finding them, getting news on them, catching news. I knew about Clovis a week ago before they went bankrupt, and I posted it. Well, all you can do is watch. And now we've been told there hasn't been a big bounce yet. Nobody's missed nothing. So we're here at the right time, and by all rights, we should see a couple bounces out of it. So, yeah, the next trend, who knows what it's going to be, but you just got to look for it. Metaverse was a trend for a while. Nobody cares now.
And I play the VR and Oculus nonstop. Right before I am gonna have to get off in a second, but somebody who was that? I apologize. Jerome Horace, good to see you, dude. Is asking about Mark. Now Mark actually trades on the standard market, but I used to trade Mark quite a bit. They've been getting absolutely. Are you familiar with Mark at all, John?
No, I'm not. Remark Holdings. I think I've heard of it vaguely, maybe seen some news, but I don't know anything about it.
Yes, absolutely. So Mark is going to, you'll find this interesting. Mark is a ticker that will typically run with a couple of other tickers. And one of them did have the record for the fastest moving SPAC. And that was DWAC, Trump's Truth Social. Now, right. Mark, what they are is they're a software company that works with AI. I believe Trump had hired them for his first election. So when you see DWAC run, you see Fun run, you see Mark run, you see Rumble run. So he's asking about Mark. I traded them multiple times, but they are absolutely getting creamed right now.
Yeah, and, we see that. She's been falling forever.
Yeah, and so a lot of traders were hopeful that with and I'm not getting political here. I'm just this is just how the market is working. They thought that with Trump announcing his candidacy, that DWAC would run, and if DWAC would run, then so would Mark and Fun. Unfortunately for them, the exact opposite happened, and Trump's announcement just didn't have the pizzazz that he hoped it would. DWAC tanked, and therefore so did Mark, and so did Fun. If you're holding a position in this currently, of course I can't tell you what to do, but if you're holding a position in this currently, I would keep an eye on, because I don't see any signs of it slowing down.
What, you mean slowing down, falling?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Continuing to go down. I don't see any catalysts over here. And how is Fun and DWAC doing right now?
Let me pull up Fun real quick. I know they're not doing well. Give me 1 second.
So if they run together, they fall together?
Exactly. So Fun is down, not nearly as bad. They're down 27% for the month, which is still bad, but not nearly as bad. For the 3-month chart, they're down 51%. For the year, 70%. Let me look at DWAC. Yeah, and they definitely run together. So DWAC, see, DWAC, not terrible, down 7% for the week, 14% for the month, 16% for 3 months, but they were significantly lower than that. I love trading volatility, but I don't like these because they just move funny. They move awfully odd. Give me 5 minutes.
Well, I'm glad you were here to talk about Mark, because I didn't know a bloody thing about it.
I do love getting into the charts, but and I'm a very active, and very prolific trader, but most of my trading actually isn't always based off of charts. It's based off of public sentiment and current events. So I really like to trade ETFs, like leveraged ETFs, and then these kind of things, because once you figure out how that stock behaves, you can kind of track it. It's a lot of fun.
Right. That's what someone else told me. The only stocks they play is the Q and the SPY. They know those stocks. They can feel those stocks, and that's what they play. They just don't wander anywhere else. And they do pretty well. And I can understand that.
My name is Prime Patrick here and on the Discord, because when I first got into Penny Boys, I was like 97% down all time. And it was very bad. It was just too many things. I was doing too many things wrong. And I told myself, I'm just going to paper trade until I find something that I love. And what I ended up falling in love with was Amazon pre-split. And I exclusively traded Amazon options for like a year, and I did extremely well on them. Now that it's split, I can't trade it. I'm terrible at trading it. So it is interesting how stocks have like Amy's Tesla, James Legends was KO, Matt likes Uber. Everybody's got their one.
Right. Right. He's mentioning names of all of these top traders we have over in our Discord group, folks. That's why we put these out. We want to just share what we do, but we also want you to know we do this as a group. There's lots of us. And I'll be honest, folks. I'm down at the bottom. I'm a novice trader compared to all these people. I know OTC, but they know how to trade. I can show you information and they can show you how to make money. I can show you where the potential is and they'll show you how to take it. So if you really want to get some education, come on over to our group. It's in the news. We got the link right there. Just come on in. It's an invitation.
Go in there, check out there's a free spot. I love talking about it, but because they saved me. I mean, like, and I'm not just saying it, like 90, I went from being 97% down to paying my bills and buying a second home off of it. But I never like to come across as a salesy person. So like there's literally a free section with free streams and free alerts. Check it out.
Yeah, the OTC section is completely free. We have a section, folks, that you pay for, but I mean, it's very difficult to explain what you're getting there. You're getting the souls of people who care, people who are building around you to help you succeed. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to build a community of stock traders that can trust each other, communicate with each other, and share information without all the hype. That's what we're about. 100%. Patrick, I've appreciated you being here, buddy. Thank you very much. Thanks for standing in.
Absolutely. Hey, hit me up next time you're doing a stream. And
I'm glad we didn't catch you just coming out of the shower. I mean, I know you came as soon as you could.
Hey, we'll see you next time. John, thank you. I mean, honestly, man, I really got to say, I mean, I'm a huge trader, but it's just such a novice to OTC, and I feel like you're opening my eyes. I mean, I might not actively trade it, but it is extremely interesting. So thank you, man. It's refreshing to see somebody as passionate as you are.
Thanks. That's all I'm looking for is people who think it's worth at least looking at. Take care, Patrick.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
All right, folks. So it looks like it's just me and you. Thank God I've got two screens open here so I can see who is actually talking to me. Jimmy Jean Baptiste. How you doing, buddy? You want to see AGSS, AmeriGuard Security Services. You know, I just looked at this one yesterday, as a matter of fact, so I know where I'm going. Seems to me that they had a 8K come out about a merger, an acquisition, whichever way you want to call it here, entry into material definitive agreement. See, I actually go through these every day. I try to read as many as I can. What was confusing about this? This is like one of those in-house mergers. You know, maybe they've got multiple subsidiaries, because what I'm reading here, they're using their same name. AGSS has entered into a merger agreement. AmeriGuard became a wholly owned subsidiary of AGGS. They keep calling it basically the same name. So I'm having a hard time seeing American Guard Security different from American Guard Security, except they got 3 different letters at the end of them. So it's almost like it's an in-house merger, but it counts for something. So this is what I saw yesterday. And since I can't explain it now, that's why I didn't actually show it in the video, because I wouldn't have been able to explain it. But that's what was going on yesterday. And I don't think anything happened today. Let's see if there's any news. And we got no news over here. Since we're here, we'll take a look at the float. Whoa. 2.2 million in the float. Now I'm on a hope. Oh, they're 10 Qs. A disclosure, folks, I can normally just put in FLOAT and it'll show me the float on a disclosure. But the 10 Qs and 10 Ks, never. They never disclose the floats inside here. So if you really want to back it up, I suggest you go to Google and look at many places that list it and find the one that's repeated the most. Find the number they say the most. That's the best you can really do, because nobody timestamps these things. But it looks like we have got a super small float. Well, God, look at the outstanding. 2.7 million. Whew. I'd keep my eye on this, because if somebody makes heads and tails or news press comes out, because they haven't had a news press about this deal, this could easily jump. She had 14% gains today. Let's go take a look at that chart. I have already got it pulled up. So she's had some nice jumps here, and they look like they're just getting smaller versions of the jumps. A big one here over the 200, a little one here over the 200, and now we've got something all new, don't we? Lots of volume coming in, shooting up. And is that just today? No, that started yesterday. Let's take a look at the 5-day, 5-minute. Yeah, so yesterday she started when that akA came out, and I was seeing her run, which is what caught my attention. And you can see she's a beautiful run. Looking at the 15-minute chart, folks, she is just floating on her 9-day SMA here. And then she's landed on her 20 and looks pretty secure up there. Our technicals do show signs of falling here. Not strong, but it shows she's cooling off. On the 5-minute, well, that doesn't look bad at all. She's sitting right on top of her 50, pretty much going sideways, consolidating, just giving time for things to change. You know, this looks primed with a super small float like 2.2 million. Merger news yesterday, even if I can't understand it, I know it's a merger. Whether it has a material change to the company, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they say. But this could have already been the jump on that akA without any more given, and without more news, she could start to fall down. All of our technicals are cooling off right now. The only thing holding up is the RSI is starting to push up. Everything else is just kind of laying there lazy. But with that float, 2.2 million, I tell you what, folks, I would, on my charts, I would come over here and get my low float watch list, and I would add that on my watch list. Absolutely. And you should be keeping your low float watch list open, because as soon as they start to move, it's running. That's it. And if you're a little late, you missed it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Top seller Jurgen. Good to see you. Top sealer Jurgen. Top seller. Top seller isn't a bad name. Sober. All right, let's take a look at Sober for LT. Can't hear anybody else here. This is weird. All right, Sober. This is the company that has created devices that just sense the vapor in your skin for alcohol. Just by putting your finger on a button, they can tell you how much alcohol is in your system. They've also got a bracelet that goes around your ankle, not your ankle, your wrist, which could be used for the federal penitentiary system when they come out, go on bail, go on probation. It tells whoever is monitoring it if you've got alcohol in your system, if you're trying to take it off, and where you are. It's got GPS in it. So there's a lot of people who do believe, as I do, this is going to end up in the hands of the federal government through their system or in car companies. OEM car factories have already been being tagged. They're already being talked to about this. There are groups out there that believe these devices should be on cars. You shouldn't be able to drive if you're drunk, and we want to make sure you don't. So they want to put one of those in there. And I don't know if they're going to be able to take your fingerprint and put it, into the system so only your finger can touch it. Nobody else's finger can touch it. It's just a thought. I haven't heard him say that, but it seems prudent to me. So I like Sober. I think Sober has a future. So I'm looking at this as a long hold. I definitely think it's better than the breathalyzers. Chart wise, let's take a look at the chart. You can see she's planed out here for the last 4 days on the 4-hour. Whoa. Oh yeah. She did take a serious drop here, and I can't tell you exactly why, but I can tell you when. That was in the first week of May. Dropped from almost $9 down to 80 cents. Wow. Whoa, that's a big gap, folks. That is a huge gap to cover. If it ever comes to its senses, there is going to be almost 1,000% gains just getting back to where this original fall was. That is silly. She did have a nice bounce in here, and she was actually climbing. Lots of volume came in, but she has fallen flat again, and everything looks peaked right now. And we were looking at that 5-minute, and she doesn't show a lot of strength right now. Let's jump on over to the OTC market, see if there's anything going on. All it's going to take is one contract with Ford, one contract with, I don't know, the Pinot system in Kentucky, something like that. And boom, it's going to start picking up. And before you know it, Sober is going to be rolling off your tongue like Kellogg's or Ford. It's just going to be that common. What sort of float? Well, we've got another low float here, folks. Now, this is a penny stock on the NASDAQ at 96 cents right now. Keep in mind, these stocks on the NASDAQ, they have minimum bid requirements. They have minimum shareholder requirements, all sorts of minimums. If you see a stock under $1, check to see how long it's been under $1. How long was this one under $1? All right, it was over $1 just a little while ago, so we're not in any trouble. You're under $1 for too long, you get a warning from the NASDAQ. They will give you 6 months. That's normally plenty of time to get your price over $1 for 10 to 20 days straight, and then you're out of hot water. But if you fail, you're out of here. They throw you down to the OTC market and you are delisted. So hopefully Sober doesn't have any problems like that, but it looks like she has got a low float. I can't jump into the NASDAQ 10K to find it, but you can see it's under 14 million. We know that for sure. Anything going on for her? Well, there's that news, 519. Now, we saw it was the 9th. The 9th of May is when she fell. So this news came out just after, let's see. No, there's nothing here. It goes from February to May 18th. So whatever happened, I'm going to guess there's got to be a disclosure that came out on that day because that is a huge drop. Let's see here. May. I got to go one more down to 5. One more page. Watch this. Well, we had an S1 come out 3 days before. 3 days before, and this was approximate date of commencement of proposed sale to public. Well, I don't expect it should have fallen for that. It was just a public offering. They were putting 2.6 million shares onto the market, which was going to lift the float. It was going to lift the float. Everybody loves a low float. They don't want to see that, but that's not lifting it that much. I mean, that's not a huge, giant jump. So for it to drop 900% over this, no, I can't tell you why it dropped, folks, but it doesn't look like she's going to do anything right now. And that's primarily because she hasn't got a catalyst. The market's being catalyst driven right now. People don't have a lot of money. We're looking for plays that are going to make us money. We're waiting for something to happen. But I like Sober. Absolutely. All right, how much time we got here? Oh, I'm over. Nobody here to tell me. I'm looking at here, see if anybody had anything else. Looks like we covered everything here. All right, folks, we got just a few minutes. See if I had anything up here I wanted to show you. I did cover this earlier. DPLS, Emerging Smart City Technology Company, Dark Pulse, to list on the NASDAQ through a business combination with Global Systems Dynamic, which is a SPAC. The SPAC is right now at $10.27, but it's only worth $10. It's only worth $10 until they close the deal. Now, there was no information there. When this moves DPLs to GSD, well, we're not going to have DPLS shares anymore, are we? No, we're going to get these. And I don't know what price conversion they're going to use them on. Now, right now, I'm holding a bag. DPLS fell way back, and I had so much else going on that I wasn't able to keep up with it. And I don't know if she even had a reverse split. Now, you can find out real quick if you come over here, just scroll on down to splits. Ooh, I got nothing here. Normally, you can go right here, and it'll tell you if they've had these splits, but they're not showing us. But in either case, this is one that also has a warrant, I do believe. GSDW, is it? There it is. Or is it still the units? It looks like it may just be the units. Units are warrants and shares brought together. Normally, they're $11.50. Units are normally $11.50. That gives you one warrant and a share of stock. And of course, if you sell your share of stock, you can keep the warrant or vice versa. But they have to split them. And I don't see, have they split them yet? Right there, 2 W's. We got 2 W's behind this one. So they've already split them. So the warrant right now is at 7 cents. Had a big drop today. Could be a buying opportunity. I don't know how many people have seen this deal, but there's a lot of followers on DPLS. So you might want to put this in your ticker too. The warrants jump faster than the stock because the stock can't move. I mean, it does, but it's not going to move big. It's going to hang around $10. Anything else I got up here? Let's see, Creditor, Twitter, official. I think that about covers it. You guys got anything else for me over here? Let me take a look. Oh, man, I missed it. Eric, dude, you're lucky it's recorded, pal. We start at 4 o'clock every Thursday. I put up the links early. You can come here to the link and you can actually type in your questions if you're going to be somewhere else, think you're going to miss it. Put in your ticker. I'll put it first in the queue. You can catch up with us later and see the ticker that I covered for you. So you won't be out of the game. Top Steeler, sorry, Mr. Jersey, I wasn't yelling. My caps were on. I never take that personal. I got over that years ago. I use caps a lot myself. What up, Johnny? My buddy Ron. Good to see you, pal. I'm glad you tuned in. LT, sober. Yeah, we covered that. LT, boy, you're all about. Oh, sober had 2 reverse splits, 1 in 100 and 1 in 3. You're probably right about that. And Jess, that's going to be the last thing we look at since we're talking about it. You should be able to see. No. All right. So we know that they have had splits. You can probably do some more research if that's important to you. But the fact is once you get your float so low, you don't have room to do a split anymore. There's not enough shares to split. So that's one of the reasons I like a low float. If I'm going to average down on any of my bags, the ones that dropped on me and I just got stuck holding a big loss and I'm not going to sell, that's what DPLS was. I look for a stock that has a low float because they're not going to do a reverse split. Why throw my money into a stock that has 7 billion shares in the float and say, well, look, it's a super low price. I'm going to buy a lot of them now. Well, price has been low for a long time. What are they going to do? A reverse split because they got a ton of shares. They can do a 1 in 1,000 reverse split and bring it down to a nice low float of 7 million or 700 million, whatever it comes out to, and I lose all my shares. So no, I'm not throwing my money into a company that has a huge float. I look for companies that have small floats if I'm going to average down. Just one of my things. All right, folks, let me get out of here so you can see what I look like. I've been a little tiny square this whole bloody show. Thank you, folks. I appreciate you showing up. Lily was going to be here. She had an accident. She had to actually go into the hospital. We're hoping everything is okay with you, Lily. We do miss you. Hopefully she'll be with us next week. I don't think it was anything serious. She was actually texting me, so I don't think it was anything too serious. So we'll be here 4 o'clock Thursday, me and Lily. If not, somebody will be here. We've got a big team over there, but I kind of dropped this on them at the last minute, so I never know who's going to show up. Thank you, Patrick, for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tune in next week. We'll go through this again. Bye-bye, folks. And don't forget my Home Alone